And what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Dynasty TV. So, it is Friday, and that means it's football predictions presented by Dynasty TV. So, just a recap of the last time I did football predictions, I was 2 for 1 last time. So, with a 67% mark, we're doing good so far for this season. What the thing about this season is the first Friday night with the AHSAA and the AISA both playing football games. Of course, the AISA started 2 weeks ago, but this is the first official week for the Alabama High School Athletic Association for their football season. So, without further ado, let's get started with these predictions. We begin in Class 7A with the match that I have picked out. It is Gaston City of Class 7A versus Spain Park. Interesting thing to note that last year's matchup between Gaston City and Spain Park, it was Gaston City winning 17-21. Both these teams start out first game of the year. I'm going to go with an easy one right here because it's the home team. I'm going to go Gaston City 28, Spain Park 31. Now moving on to the Class 6A matchup, we have a rivalry game to start off for Class 6A. It is Hartselle versus Coleman. An interesting note right here, this rivalry has been going on since 1916, with Hartselle holding the edge in this series 46-45-4. And of course they won last year's matchup 27-17. But I believe that Coleman is going to win this year and keep the series tied up. I believe Coleman is going to win this game 28-27. Now we move on to the Class 5A matchup. It is McGill-Tulane of Class 7A versus Spanish Fort of Class 5A. An interesting thing to note right here, all the times that Spanish Fort has played McGill-Tulane, which has only been 3 times, Spanish Fort has never beaten McGill-Tulane. And just like last year's matchup between McGill-Tulane and Spanish Fort, it was 24-3 McGill-Tulane. I still believe that Spanish Fort will not beat McGill-Tulane just because it's a powerhouse for them in Class 7A. I do believe it's going to be a close game to start out, but I have McGill-Tulane 21, Spanish Fort 13. Now we move on to the Class 4A matchup between Shades Valley, which from Class 6A, versus Andalusia High School from Class 4A. These schools are 180 miles apart from each other. They don't play that much, but it's going to be an interesting week 1 when you have 2 schools from different regions facing each other. I have the big 6A team winning this one. I have Shades Valley 35, Andalusia 28 in a close shootout. Now we move on to the Class 3A matchup between Elmore County of Class 3A versus Montgomery Academy of Class 3A. Last year's schedule went by Elmore County defeating Montgomery Academy 35-28. I think that flip is going to be switched this year. I believe that since it is a home game for Montgomery Academy, both these schools, they kind of struggled last year, but hopefully they'll have a better season this year. I have Montgomery Academy 17, Elmore County 14. Now, we move on to the Class 2A matchup between Houston County of Class 1A versus Geneva County of Class 2A. Last year's matchup, it was Houston County defeating Geneva County 28-19, and I'm going to choose Houston County over Geneva County 28-14 in this matchup because I believe Houston County is going to go far into the playoffs this year in Class 1A, and Geneva, they're still going to have a good team this year, but I believe they're going to fall short in the first match this year. And now we move on to Class 1A where it is Keith of Class 2A versus Winterboro. Just a recap of last year's matchup, it was Winterboro defeating Keith 28-14. I believe this will be a low-scoring game between these two, a close game, but I have Keith finishing this game out 17-7. And now we move on to the AISA matchup of the week. It is the 2A Clark Prep Gators versus the 3A Park Pike Liberal Patriots. This game was played last year in Grove Hill, Alabama for Clark Prep. Pike Liberal won that game 19-6. And, you know, both these teams have a lot of expectations coming into this year. Pike Liberal, I believe they'll do really good in Class 3A. Clark Prep, with a tough region schedule matchup, they still will have a good season turnout. I believe that Pike Liberal will win this matchup 42-28. So that's gonna do it. That's gonna do it for this edition for Dynasty TV Friday Night Football picks. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.